Who says cool temperate winters means a dead garden? Despite cold fronts and short days, I'm harvesting cauliflower, fennel, plenty of greens and amazing citrus from my very much alive garden. Come with me for this July harvest in my permaculture system designed to provide year-round abundance. Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. Welcome to my winter vegetable garden where today we're going to reap the rewards of seeds that were sown back in February and transplanted out in March to give a beautiful harvest that we can enjoy today. I've got mini garden beds that are just filled with veg which are ready or just slowly growing at the moment with the shorter days. And I've got beds that still won't be ready for the next few months. And I've got beds that are empty, which probably won't be planted out before spring when the weather starts to warm up a little bit. With a little bit of planning, I'm learning to grow veggies all year round. What I'm hoping to achieve with this garden is year-round food. For that, we need to plan when you plant your seeds, when you transplant them out, and how long it's going to be until you get your harvest. So for the plants I've got in the ground here now, I've had to plant sort of from February through to April and even into May to take me through the winter months and hopefully into spring. Now I'll probably still have to do a bit more planting to get some spring harvests going, but today we're focused on the winter harvest and let's see what we can get out of this garden. We've recently been harvesting purple cauliflower, but today we've got the green one ready. You can see there is a little bit of frost damage on the top there, I think, so we need to be taking this one inside. Now this head has just got a little bit of damage here, so I'll cut that bit out, but all the rest of it around here is just perfect. While we're near that collie plant, I'll just grab some of this kale, which is really nice sauteed with some onion, pepper and salt, and a little bit of garlic, and it's just lovely. And just here, I've got some red Russian kale. I'll grab a couple of those leaves just for kind of a mixed kale stir fry. Now, a plant in my garden that I've not been too sure about as it's grown is these plants here, which is sprouting broccoli. Now, there's been no signs of flowers and they were planted at the start of March, so they've been in the ground for 4 months. So I'm wondering if I'll just start harvesting some of this and using it kind of like my kale. So that's what I'm going to do today, is just snip off some of these leaves and treat it as if it was kale. I was really expecting these plants to kind of just sprout out broccoli heads like the little flowers, but nothing's happening yet, so we'll eat them anyway. Just in this little section of garden, I've got this head of tatsoi that I'm going to grab today. There's celery in here that's still a little bit too small to harvest from, but over the back here are some mature coriander plants, so I might grab some of those because that'll be great in the stir fry. Beautiful. There's another little plant in here which will get a bit bigger, so we can harvest that one. And over the back here, I'm just going to pull out this little group of coriander plants, hopefully grabbing the roots while we're at it. Now I was mucking around a bit cutting this off because there was a second little plant that I thought I might be able to plant out. It's got a couple of little roots, so I will put it in the ground, but I doubt whether it will grow. So I was trying to save that plant. And with your coriander, the roots provide a lot of flavour for Asian cooking. So even though normally I'd cut it off at the soil level, I want in this case to keep the roots for that extra flavour you can get from them. Smells gorgeous. Moving down this garden a little bit, we've got a couple of plants I want to harvest. First up, I'm just going to grab this chioggia beetroot, just the one. There's 2 there, but I can hopefully leave one in the ground. So I generally take the bigger of the clump and leave the rest to grow on a bit further. And while I'm here, I'm just going to take this endive plant. Now I'm just going to take the whole lot. With endive, I do take sort of just the outer leaves at times. But I'm going to make a big salad with this one, so I'm going to take the whole head. I've got plenty more out in the garden. This space here is largely in need of renovation. It was my former broccoli patch. But as you can see, some of these plants really don't want to say goodbye. And there's still some little florets of broccoli that I'm going to grab today. Some of them are a bit frost-ridden or a bit damaged by insects, like, you know, it's not quite perfect. So I'll just get rid of that one. But the rest are definitely good to put in the stir fry. Now just here near my sprouting broccoli is one of my radish plants that was a purple variety. And radishes are so quick growing. And that will be beautiful, chopped up, again in a stir fry. You could probably almost roast those up as well, along with the beetroot. Just consider radishes for fast-growing food in your garden. They really kind of give very quickly. Right here is an old bed of parsnips. Most of them are no good and some are flowering, which we'll leave. I'll just see if these are any good. Well, that parsnip's pretty good. I do have some young parsnips growing in another area of the garden to keep my parsnip harvesters going into the future. They should roast up really well. Just here I've got a golden beetroot that I'm going to grab out. Beautiful colour. And that'll roast up nicely with my chioggia beetroot that I grabbed out just before. And you can't have a nice roast up of veggies without adding a few carrots to the mix. These carrots were planted ahead of my second bed of carrots. And they've been in the ground for some time now, so they're all coming out. Not huge carrots, but doesn't matter when you add it to lots of other veg. And it clears this space so I can plant out with something else. At the end of this brassica bed, which has got various greens in it as well, we have my fennel plants, which I actually transplanted. They were volunteer plants in the garden, and I just transplanted them to give them plenty of space to fill out into these beautiful bulbs. So I reckon these two are ready, although I'll probably just grab this one today. Take those outer leaves off, and look at that. Can't complain about that fennel bulb. Now all of these greens can sort of flavour up soups and things, but today I'm just going to roast this bulb with all my other veggies that I've got for roasting. Oh, I think I'm going to have a bit of a feast soon. Just in this area here, we're going to grab another root veg for our roast up, and that of course is the potato. Now the first one I'm going to grab is actually growing in the path, so we'll see if we get anything from that. It's actually hard to spot a potato in that bed now. It's been overrun with a few weeds and the slugs have got to the plants, so I think it's time to be just seeing what we can grab out. But first up, I'm going to pull this plant, which wasn't covered with the recent frosts, and it's looking very sad. But we might get a few nice little new potatoes to throw in the mix. Just a few out of the path. I'm just going to have a rummage around under one of these plants and see what we can get. There's a few more. I reckon that's all I need for my roast. Now in this bed here, I have planted a couple more cabbage plants to grow when these ones are finished. Now this head should have been harvested a while ago, but I still had cabbage in the fridge, so I didn't grab it, but definitely going to grab it now. probably a few critters to wash out of here, but that won't matter. I'll just take off the outer leaves and remove the residents. There's quite a few in here. With a bit of soaking, we'll get out all of these little residents and enjoy just a small head of cabbage. Now, while I'm grabbing that head of cabbage, this one's no good. That's the one that'll go to the chickens. I've got some leek plants here. Now, this one is kind of getting a bit thicker, but there's another area of leeks that I'll grab from instead. This group of leeks I planted back in March. Now, we've got 3 plants here that are a different variety of the ones at the back there. And I'm sorry to say I can't tell you what varieties they are. These ones seem to get a thicker stalk. So what I'm going to do is leave those to grow to seed. They spread by seeds in the flower head. These other ones are ones that I've discovered recently, and they can spread by seed but also by bulbils. So they have little propagates at the bottom of the plant when they're mature, which you can spread around the garden, and that's how I've got all of these. Now, because I've got plenty of leeks in the garden, that's the second bed over there, I don't mind taking these plants when they seem to be still a little thin. Now, there's some that seem to be a bit thicker, so I might kind of take a couple of those, 2 or 3 maybe, which would equal one big fat one. This one's pretty good here there too, and maybe that one over the back there. So I'll just see what I can dig up. Actually, I think just 2 will do the trick, just to add to a bit of cauliflower soup. Now, there's just a few more greens I'm going to add. I'm planning on salads, a stir fry, and just kind of a fry up, perhaps with cabbage and some Swiss chard and a bit of onion. So I'm going to grab some Swiss chard now. In this garden bed here, which I'd originally planted peas, the peas failed, but everything else seemed to thrive, so I kind of just let it go. There's the mustard greens over the back there, which I could grab for the stir fries and salads, so I might grab some of those. But hiding under all of this weedy vine are some really lovely Swiss chard. Now, the Swiss chard, some people don't like the leaves, but will chop up the stalks and kind of roast those up. I don't mind either, really. So I'll grab a few of these. Maybe some different colours. And then we'll grab my mustard greens. And I'm just going to pick a few of these centre leaves. Well, we've collected quite a bit of veg at this stage. I've still got a few more things that I want to add. Something I love to add to a mixed salad are these chicory leaves. Look at this plant here. It's absolutely amazing. Now, it does harbour lots of life, so it does need pretty good washing. But it just adds a bit of complexity to your salad. So I kind of just pull out, twist out a handful, and you can see there's plenty of slugs in there and a spider. Sorry, mate. But all of these little leaves will wash up perfectly. And that's just self-sown in the garden. Look at all that food. Just to mix up your salads a bit of Mizuna, both the maroon and the green variety. And now I'm going to grab a few of these green onions. This patch definitely looks like it needs a bit of weeding, but it doesn't hold these plants back really. And I'll just sneak a few of these plants out of a clump. And that'll clean up beautifully. Now, it was just last year that I discovered that you can leave these bunches of spring onions just to keep growing and keep flowering and keep reseeding and keep spreading. And you don't need to replant them all the time. I just kind of dig up some of the roots are left in the ground, and they can re-sprout from that as well. Now, if you look down here, there's signs that these plants are coming back to life again. So it'll be interesting to see if I'm going to get another harvest just from those plants there. Well, all of this has got me covered vegetable-wise, but what about something sweet? It's always nice to finish off a meal just with a little sweetness. So for that, we're going to head to the kitchen garden. Now, not particularly sweet, but limes are one of my favourites, just to slice up, put in some soda water and just perhaps put in a squeeze, and it's really nice, refreshing drink. So I'm just going to add a few of these. At this time of year, the limes are starting to yellow off a little bit, and that definitely means that they're nice and juicy inside, and time to be sharing these around with family and friends because there's just too many of them for me. They smell great. Still a few ripe lemons on the tree, but plenty of green ones, so it won't be long till this tree has got an abundance of lemons on it. Now, while my rhubarb plants at this time of year don't look as happy as at other times, there's still enough that I can grab off to harvest. Now, what I look for is just the larger leaves at the edges, and I can grab that, and that's a lot of rhubarb. So I just sort of avoid grabbing from the centre of the plant there, but any of these that are just kind of falling to the wayside are fair game. One harvest that I've been really looking forward to is from this plant here, which is my kiwi vine. This is the first time that it's fruited, and I've got 2 fruits on it that I've been waiting to harvest, but it looks like I might have left it too late for one of the fruits. Can you see that one there? Look at that. They haven't left much for me. That's probably a little rat that's climbed up to that. So I'm not going to let a little bush rat get to this one. I'm going to harvest my first ever kiwi fruit and enjoy that after lunch. Hopefully in future years I'll be getting more than just one. Now, for the last harvest of the day, it's the beautiful mandarin. Now, this is an imperial mandarin tree and it's only just become ripe. My neighbours have been giving me other varieties to keep me going, but I think today we can grab some mandarins off this tree. Now, just in here, we might sample one. This one looks big and juicy and ready to go. I'm just going to grab a few of these if they are ripe. So I'm just going to test it just to make sure that we're good to go before I grab too many. Now, this tree was planted 8 years ago, and last year was the first year that the fruit really sweetened up and were delicious. So I'm expecting the same again this year because it's really quite a mature tree now. So let's see how we go. That's really good. Eating homegrown fruit and veggies is what it's all about. Well, with that one passing the test, I'll just grab a few more to take into the house. Beautiful. Now that we've added a bit of sweetness to the harvest, I think we're done. Well, I'm pretty excited about this haul of food. There is so much here and so much diversity. It's really worth putting in the effort sort of in February, March, April, grow from seed, transplant to the garden to get this sort of haul in the middle of winter. You do not need to have bare beds. It can be growing lots of food. Well, that's it for today's video. I'm going to be busy getting this inside and getting it all prepared. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please give me a like if you have and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.